So hi folks. So what do we think we are really made up of? Well, our biochemistry is very simple. We're just made up of star stuff. And what is that? Just basically carbon-based life. Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and some phosphorus, and that's like 95% of our composition. The remaining 5% is just the other elements on the periodic table, but eventually we just matter. And this matter was created in the hearts of stars, just like our sun out there. In our sun, hydrogen is fusing together to create helium, and that's a thermonuclear stellar synthesis reaction called nuclear fusion, which we're trying to mimic now, and to create new energy technologies. And the breakthroughs are really at the cusp, and we will make that leap very soon, because there you go, it's happening out there in the sun. It's happening in trillions of stars out there, and all the elements that we know, 118 of them on the periodic table, that's how they were created. And we can harness that energy. So we don't need to rely on inefficient, polluting technologies and all of our modern crisis around wars regarding oil and our economies, circulating this petty notion that we have to have this thing called oil and fossil fuels. They're not going to be forever anyway. But however, coming back to what are we made up of, and who are we? Well, at the DNA level, it's just 4 base pairs, A, T, C, and G. They are base pairs. They pair up with each other. They are the building blocks of the DNA, and the combinations of these nucleotides, as they're called, nearly 23,000 different combinations, form us, as is known in the Human Genome Project. But based on this knowledge, we have deciphered something very, very amazing, which is that we are all the same. And our perceptions that we are different based on races, man-made theology, political ideologies, nationality, are really going to fall apart eventually. And what will come out of this is this beautiful spiritual and scientific awareness of interconnectivity between life forms, our relationship with each other, the equanimity and balance on the planet, how it works, and how we can synergize our technologies creatively. And we are really at the cutting edge of that. How we can synergize our energies to be part of that dynamic energy flow on planet Earth. And everybody can contribute in whatever little way they can, through research, through investing in renewables, through community development and growth, and being and on the same vibe of collective good for everybody. Because if we can't make it together, we won't be able to make it with the current model of separation that we currently have. So there's a lot of hope. Just looking at this leaf over here, it's such an innocent thing, and it's kind of withering now because autumn season is coming, and it's going to cycle itself back again in spring. Everything cycles on this planet, and everything is abundant, and energy systems are abundant, food sources are abundant. But if we manipulate it based on a dominion-based mindset, we are going to ruin it as we currently are. Well, nearly 75% of the plant life on this planet we have already devastated through our dominion-based mindset on trying to conquer nature, how absurd is that? It's like we live in it. We are part of nature. We don't need to conquer it. If we have that kind of gregarious attitude, we are going to be omitted out as an experiment that went wrong. We need to. We're conscious of it, but that shift is happening, and it's good news, and it is magnanimous. It's graceful. It invokes spirit and passion and compassion to be part of that shift. It's also called perennial wisdom, and every culture has it in their spiritual traditions, which obviously have been manipulated by the powers that be, but there's no point discussing those powers because they're just anomalies. The human spirit has persisted for eons, and it will, but collectively. And the individual spirit of human empowerment and self-realization is going to connect to that. So kudos to that. Planet Earth, it's the third rock from the sun. Well, how long has it taken for us to get here? Well, according to the Big Bang Theory, it's taken about 13.8 billion years for us to be here now, human beings. So when we look back through all of our technology that is looking for how the laws of physics come into creation, we go all the way back using different technological breakthroughs to decipher that it's taken us such a long time to arrive to what we call the present. And if we look at it, we're still connected to that infinitely small void from where we came. Science calls it infinite density, nothing, event horizon. But still, they are just metaphors. We can't really decipher how to go beyond that time zero. However, irrespective of that challenge, what is beautiful is that we are here. And if you look at the sophistication of what it took life to evolve, well, the planetary system evolved around 4.6 billion years ago, our solar system, which is just one little solar system of around the billions of solar systems just on our Milky Way galaxy, of which there are trillions of other galaxies. So obviously we are insignificant. But however, the significance is that we can actually look back and understand or try to make some sense of it all, and the story is beautiful. But what is more beautiful is that we learn connections. We learn that we really come from this single point in time. With all our differences, we can still figure out somehow that we are really not really so different. We come from this source, and we can use metaphors, we can use science, but eventually science itself uses metaphors to explain it. So what is the real take-home message? The take-home message is simply that life, which started around 3.8 billion years ago from single-celled organisms, further evolved into plants first, from bacteria to blue-green algae to stromatolite mounds, which emitted oxygen around 2.5 billion years ago, and then eventually creating the atmosphere around this planet, this blue dome, which we take for granted and which we are really currently damaging with a very primitive form of technology based on fossil fuels. So this beautiful atmosphere, which is really around 60 kilometers from sea level, up all the way up to the upper stratosphere. It's just a thin band going around the planet. So the planet itself is not very big as it appears to be. It's a small home. It's only 40,070 kilometers in circumference all the way around. And we need to live in balance within this planet. We need to live together. We need to eventually get rid of that idea of geographical boundaries and ethnocentrism, of nationhood and tribal mentality, of religiosity, and thinking in those kind of limitations. So we need to collectively come up with a consensus to build equanimity and well-being on this planet. And it's really beautiful the way the systems work on it. What is really called a kind of redox reaction. The photosynthesis gives us oxygen and energy, which goes through the life support systems, and animals depend on the producers, the plants, to breathe and produce, and to basically as a source of nourishment and a source of life, oxygen. And we need to move and turn the page towards new energy technologies, which are right there in front of us. Many countries are doing it, and they made this shift, but some are not. And eventually, it's not a question of choice. It's a question of political will, which comes through consensus building. And we will have to make that shift eventually. And we will. There is all this planning, all this time that it has taken for us to reach where we are now cannot be for nothing. So where is this beauty and this grace, and there is such an abundance in this universe of whatever you want. So let's get out of that myopic, anthropomorphic, man-made thinking of limitations and think about collective well-being. I wish you all well. Be well and spread joy and happiness and grace, and the most important thing of which this universe actually is made up of, which is the four-letter word LOVE, love. It's abundant. Be well.